just want to have a conversation with you guys. As you can see, I mean, as you know, probably look outside there, you see a lot of winter snow. So I think it's a good day to have a conversation with you guys and just talk about something from a comment that I got on one of my videos. And as you come in, guys, do me a favor. Let me know where you're coming from, what city, what state, what county, what country. Where are you at? Just drop it down there and I'll read it and we can talk about it. But I got a comment. I got a I got a comment from one of my videos, and the commenters asked about is a guy. He was 40 years old. He said he really don't know where to start, and he said he is just now getting going with investment, and he don't have any investments. So I figured, okay, where's the camera at here? So I figured, okay, well, I'll just give him some starting points. But before I did it, I said that would be a good video just to have on this, snowy, cold Sunday. Let's talk about it live, and so that way other people can benefit from the information that I give him. So let me see. We got Benin in West Africa. Good to have you here. Silver Springs, Maryland. North Kakalaki, North Carolina. Winnipeg, Canada's in the house. We got a lot of folks. So we got folks all over the world, which is cool. We got Fort Lauderdale, Decatur, Georgia, Kenya, on the east coast of Africa, east side of Africa. So we got them from all over the world. I don't know what ATX is. Let me know. Frederick, Maryland. You got to say Maryland like that. You can't say Maryland. You got to say Maryland. California's in the house. Berlin, South Georgia. Another Austin, Texas. I don't know what that flag is. Is that German? Taking from Lebanon. Good to have you. Man, we got them all over the world. Liberia on the west coast of Africa. Baltimore, New Jersey. We got them all over the world in the live. I appreciate you guys being here. Port Charlotte, Florida, Arkansas. Man, we got them. I'm just appreciative and grateful that we got so many people from around the world that check in and want to learn a little bit about money and all that good stuff. Today's topic, I'm 40 years old and I don't have anything saved for retirement. You guys tell me what I look. Am I looking over here? I'm looking over here. So 40 years old, nothing saved for retirement. What do I do? I'm lost. Help me, right? So this video is for you. Or let's say you don't have enough. You're not sure you have enough. You're just a little bit cautious. This quick video is going to be from you. Appreciate you too. Let me see what we got here. I don't really know how to work it because I changed the orientation. But straight snow outside, so let's just talk. First thing, let me give you my 11 recommendations on what to do. Look to the left. Okay, that's your left. This is my left. Look over here. Okay, got you. Yeah, guys, do me a favor. When you come in here, hit that thumbs up button for me too. So first thing is this. If you're sitting there 40 years old, let's say you're 50 years old or 45 years old and you don't have enough saved, or you don't really have anything saved, you have nothing. So the very first thing that I recommend, let me take this out of my ear. The very first thing that I recommend you consider doing, yeah, I'm old, I wear hearing aids. The very first thing I recommend you do is this is number one. Nothing else happens until you do this, right? So like nothing else is going to take place until you actually can do this one thing right here. The first thing you got to do is you have to change the way you think. If when you starting with nothing, or you don't have nothing, or you don't have as much as you think you should have, you got to change your attitude. That's the very first thing that has to happen, right? Because nothing else changes until you begin to change your mind. Like if you don't believe that I could begin to build some wealth, or I could begin to save and have some money for retirement, like it's not going to happen if you don't believe it. Because if you don't believe it, you won't do the things that it takes to get there, right? See, how you think has led you to zero at the age of 40. So if you keep thinking the way you think At 40 with zero, you're going to be 80 with zero. You're going to be 60 and 50 and 75 with zero if you don't change the way you first think. You got to believe that there's hope and you can do something, because that belief is going to cause you to have the behaviors that's going to change the ultimate outcome that you have with your personal finances. So in order to change the outcome when you get 60, you can't just be thinking the same way you thinking that got you to zero at 40. You got to get a different way of thinking so that you can get to 1 million by 60, or 500,000 by 55, or 2 million by 70, whatever it could be, right? So you have to believe that it's possible. You have to be positive in your brain. You have to begin to think about abundance as opposed to lack. So all of this, so you got to basically become, and nothing is going to change until you get this simple principle. And I'm not saying anything. I'm not a financial guru. I don't claim to be some big financial guru. I just claim to be a regular guy, a regular person that is just trying to help people understand a different way, right? Austria's in the house, Denmark's in the house, South Africa, woo, is in the house. Wow. So you got to think different. That's the very first thing. Okay, we're going to get to some more hands-on practical stuff. But the first thing is think different, and then always look forward. Stop paying attention to your mistakes, the things you did wrong, the things you messed up, you didn't do this for 10 years. So what? Let it go. It's over. That was in your 20s, that was in your 30s, now you're in your 40s. Let's do something different, right? But you got to commit to a different way of thinking, right? Well, I see you right there. I'm looking at you on the computer too. So now, after you change the way you think, and guys, do me a favor, you got a question, drop a Q in the chat. Ohio, Ukraine, Philadelphia, we got them all. You got to start pushing, no doubt. So if you got a question, put a Q in there. I'll try to get to it a little later. But the deal is that the second thing you got to do, that's the first thing you got to believe. The second thing you got to do is you have to be honest about where you currently are. In other words, you got to like pull up the rug, pull back the cover, so to speak, and you got to start digging into where you are and being honest with yourself, and stop sugarcoating it and acting like that, you're doing something that, or you're better than, or you're bigger or greater or farther along than you really want to be, right? So you have to assess where you are. What do you currently have, right? Are you, okay, look, do a net worth statement. If you do a net worth statement, that'll show you exactly what you have. That means assets on one side of the paper and liabilities on the other side of the paper. So you take your assets minus your liabilities. Do you have $5,000 net worth? Do you have $50,000 net worth, right? Or do you have a negative net worth, right? So you got to make that decision, decide that. Somebody said I'm maxing out my Roth. Guys, drop a question, a Q if you have a question. Put a Q in front of it and so I can see it really easily. All right, so second thing, assess where you are and be honest with yourself, right? Check out, go through a budget, a written budget on how much you spend every month, your expenses, and really begin to look at your money and track your money for just a month or 2 or 3. You should be doing a budget anyway, but one way or the other, you want to track what you're spending money on, and you want to track where you are overall with your net worth. Because listen, if you're 40 years old and you have nothing, we can say, okay, I have zero. That's my net worth. But you got to sit down and really put it to paper and really see. The reason I want you to do it first, one of the first things I want you to do is look at your net worth, is because I want you to use that as a measuring stick along your journey. So you're 40 with nothing. Let's say you're 40, you have a zero net worth. Well, what are you at 42? What are you at 44? Start tracking it on a regular basis a couple of times a year so you can start seeing how you're progressing, or seeing if you're regressing, going backwards, right? Third thing you got to do. This is my 11 recommendations for somebody that's 40 years old or older and you don't have nothing saved for your retirement, right? Been there, done that. Been there, done that. And I'm going to keep going. I'm on number 3, I'm sorry. Somebody said, how do you recover from having a couple of change-offs? What is a change-off? I'm 35 in my second year of law school and I feel deferred. You know what? When you say change-off, not sure what change-offs mean, but 35 is young, man. 35, you got a lot of time ahead of you. The beauty about being 35 and messing up at 35 and not feeling a certain way at 35 is you got 30 more years. And you got 20, 30 more years. You got a lot of time, right? But you got to start now, right? If you're 35, start now. Don't put it off because you say, I got a lot of time. Go ahead and get going with that thing right now. And trust me, over time, being consistent, you're going to be fine if you're 30 years old in law school. Number 3 is set some goals for retirement. If you're 40 years old, 45 years old, 50 years old, when do you want to retire and how much do you want to have? So you're 40 years old. I want to retire I want to be done doing everything I have to do. I want to do what I want to do when I'm 55. That means you got 15 years. 15 years. How much do you need in that 15 years? So you kind of reverse engineer that thing, right? I need $750,000 net worth by the time I'm 55 years old. I'm 40 years old. Okay, so how do we get there? Do you want to have $200,000 equity in a home and $500,000, $550,000 in the stock market? How do we get there? What do we got to start doing right now? Do we got to start taking a second job? Do we got to start working more? Do we got to start a business? What do we got to do today to reach the goal? And the goal for retirement goals have to be specific goals. Now, I'm giving you this because I can tell you flat off the bat, you're 40 years old, start investing a whole bunch of money today, right? Simple. But it's a little bit more to it than that because you got to develop discipline, consistency, the right habits. You got to develop all these things so you're building a strong foundation with your money and you're not just going out and investing a whole bunch of money, but here you still have a whole bunch of debt, right? So I want you to do it in the right order and do it right. Let's see, somebody said I'm 38 with lots of student loans, but I had to further my education in order to increase my income. That's cool. Just pay them off as soon as you can, right? Somebody says separate from toxic people, no doubt. How do you stop being a preparer and trying to save for every what if? If you're a chronic prepper and everything is what if, you got to cut off a limitation, set a goal and say, I'm getting to that goal. Everything after that, I'm investing. I'm not going to save up 30 and 40 and 50 and $80,000 just in case. I'm going to invest my money so it grows. So third thing was set a goal for retirement. When and how much are you going to have when that happens, right? Okay. I like that. Now, the fourth thing you got to do is listen. You got to commit to what I consider to be one of the most important things that people that build wealth do. By the way, hit the thumbs up button. You have to commit to what I consider to be the one. Okay, I don't make it sound too dramatic, right? But I noticed something after talking to 1,000 or more people about their money, personally, one-on-one about their money. This is what I noticed. The people that tend to achieve with money, they tend to be people who are self-starters. Okay? People that lag behind in terms of money, they tend to be people who sort of have a hard time motivating themselves, right? People who are self-starters or self-learners, you can't stop them. They're going to go out and they're going to learn what they got to learn to invest what they got to invest to have what they want to have in 20 years. People that are self-starters. So the fourth thing you got to do, my fourth recommendation to somebody who's 40 years old and don't have anything, you have to go out and engage yourself in learning, in taking on new information, in pressing the envelope a little bit, stepping outside your comfort zone, doing things you wouldn't normally do, meeting people you wouldn't normally meet, getting that extra education, getting that extra certificate, starting that business. You have to motivate yourself, right? You have to be a person that is able to encourage themselves to get going, to get started. That's a huge trait of people that tend to win with money. And, if you're not winning with money, don't trip, not a big deal. If that's not you, doesn't matter, doesn't mean you can't win with money. I'm just telling you, you have to be a self-learner. If you want to begin this journey after age 40 and you don't have nothing saved for retirement, that means you got to increase your financial literacy, right? You got to turn around and say, okay, I got to learn this So I got to go ahead and get going on this. I got to stop with the Netflix and chill, and I got to leave the concert alone, maybe take a few less vacations. I got to get focused on what I want. That's what people that tend to be better and get better with money do, is they tend to be able to be a person that gets their own financial literacy, doesn't sit back and wait on other people. Now, I know this changes from culture to culture, and I'm talking to people here that are in Europe, that are in Africa, that are in Asia, that are in South America, culture to culture. I know some cultures that they just kind of sit around and wait, right? Some cultures don't, some people do, some people don't. But you got to read the books. You got to take the courses. You have to get the money, you have to be willing to get out and get the money management skills. You got to do something different. You also have to make sure you stay away from the get rich quick stuff, the schemes and the scammers, right? Don't pay anybody. You ain't got to pay $20,000 for the weekend boot camp. It's not necessary. You ain't got to do it. You don't have to spend $50,000 to go hang out with somebody on their yacht or their jet or their Maybach, whatever. You ain't got to do none of that. Okay? You got to be willing to take on and do the self-learning. Listen, 90% of what they tell you out at those conferences where you spend $20,000, 90% of that is right there on Google. It's right on the internet. Or it's right in your library and it's free. Right? And I know you say library, that's old school. Well, they got newer school stuff in libraries if you go to one. My point is that you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money for this self-learning. And if you think you want to spend a bunch of money for the self-learning, then you make sure you save up the money and you don't put it on a credit card to go back further in debt. I've seen some of these gurus and scammers. They say, yeah, you can take my $20,000 course and about how to get better with your money and just drop it on a credit card. That doesn't make any sense, right? I'm teaching you how to get better with money, but I'm saying I want you to go into debt $50,000 to come to my seminar or to come to my conference or to get my coaching. It makes absolutely no common sense to me. That's just me. Call me what you want to call me, right? But I'm telling you, the fourth thing is, if you have no money, save for retirement. Over 40, you got to take the bull by the horn, so to speak. And you got to go out and do some self-learning and get your own financial literacy thing going, right? Now, the fifth thing you got to do, if you have no money saved, you got to consider ways to increase your income. Now, I know that's the obvious, right? But you got to, and it don't have to be start a business, right? You could say, hey, I want to increase my income, but guess what? I've been doing a great job at my job. I got great performances on my job. My supervisor says I'm a great worker and I do everything. I come on time. I get all the work done. I'm the go-to person. Ask for a raise, right? And if you don't ask for a raise, if you ask for a raise, they say no, they don't appreciate you. Every 6 months, update your resume so you can shop around your skills. Because every 6 months on a job, typically, a lot of people have new skills. Now all of a sudden you got a new skill, you did something different. Okay, let me put that on the resume, let me shop it around. If you got to go from job to job every 3 or 4 years, 5 years for a $20,000 raise, this is a new day and age, right? You ain't got to stay at a job for 25, 30 years. If you do, cool. But there's more money to be made out there with these additional skills that you're getting every year. If they don't give you a raise at your job, consider looking around. That's just my personal opinion. Or, of course, obviously, if you want to make more money, you can start a side hustle, right? You can start an eBay business, selling stuff on Shopify, print on demand, digital assets, a lot of stuff you can do. Start a YouTube channel. Tons of things you can do to actually increase your pay, right? What you make. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, Willie Wilo's back in the house. Good to have you here. Been a while since the last time I streamed. You're right. Good to have you here, though. I'm glad you're here. Appreciate your support. So start a side hustle. Consult. Listen, what do you do well? Maybe you can consult other people. Start a YouTube channel about what you enjoy. Right? Now, that was number 5. Make more money. So why are you making more money? So you can add to your income, right? And have more money to invest. So you have more money in 15, 20 years, right? Number 6 is very, very important, okay? And I probably will get a little bit of pushback, but that's okay. Do yourself a favor if you're over 40 and you don't have nothing saved for retirement. Try to get out of debt as soon as possible. Try to eliminate debt on things going down in value as soon as possible. The one thing that I see, and that I see people do a lot of times is, and I work for the federal government, right? So since I work for the federal government, I've seen a ton of people over the years who want to retire, but they have a bunch of bills by the time they're 60 years old or 62 years old, and they keep working because they got a kid in college. They got a house that needs to be paid for. Listen, do yourself a favor. Try to get rid of as much debt as possible as soon as possible. And if you want to hold on to the what we consider to be the better debt, which is the debt on things appreciating in value, that's totally up to you. But at least get rid of the debt on things that are not appreciating in value. The credit cards, the medical bills, the student loans, the rent a center, to rent furniture, whatever. Get rid of the debt that is just right here. It's not going up in value. Get rid of it, right? I don't care if it's avalanche method, snowball method, whatever. Do yourself a favor. The sooner you get rid of that debt, the more you can put towards investing money. And I know you can say, well, what if I'm at a 0%, or what if I make 1% on my interest rate's only 1%? That's cool. If you want to hold on to it, I'm just telling you what helped me, right? The seventh thing you got to do, 11 recommendations for people. I'm off to the side, I think. Okay, the seventh thing you want to do is you want to make sure you've opened a retirement account. And you could be it could be your 401k at your job. It could be, your brokerage account, Charles Schwab, whatever it could be. It could be a lot of different places, but you got to start investing money. And I recommend first things first, you at least get the match on the job while you take care of some of the other things, the getting out of debt, the getting an emergency fund. While you're doing all that, at least get the match at the job if your job offers you some type of match. Now, some of you are in countries where jobs don't offer matches, right? I understand that. If that's the case, then see if you're able to do a little bit of investing of your money on your own, 3 to 5% of what you bring in, just a tiny little bit so you can start. Because a lot of times it's the time that makes the money grow. So when you started at 40, you're way better off than when you started at 55, right? If you can start it at 25 or 20, it's even better, right? The time for money to grow in a stock market, right? Depending on where you are. So the other thing, number 8, and I'm just rolling here. I haven't even checked the chats, man. My apologies, guys. I haven't even checked the chat. So, Miss B, thank you so much, Miss B, for the super chat. I appreciate that tremendously, Mrs. B. Thank you so much, and Miss B. And Miss B, thanks for your support. Somebody said I work for the state government. I'm on number 8, I believe. Somebody said I work for the state government and have a retirement plan there. Is it wise to open a separate 401k plan? Do you say when you say open a separate, you mean open a separate retirement account at a brokerage account? Totally, yeah. There's nothing wrong with that if you want to do that. If you don't, this is what I recommend. If you have a 401k and you really don't like that what the job is investing your money in at the 401k, then just invest up to the match of the 401k or 403b, and then do all your other investing on your own outside of that 401k. So that's totally wonderful and acceptable. But one thing I would say is this: make sure you know what your company is investing your 401k money in. Like a lot of people don't know this. I'm not exaggerating. I would say most people I talk to, they have a 401, they might have a 401k, but they have no clue where that money is being invested by the company. So investigate that a little bit. And if you like it and are comfortable with it, increase your 401k investing. If you don't like it, not comfortable, get the match and then open your own brokerage. Absolutely. But I challenge you next week to learn where they're investing your 401k money. What are those funds that they give you? What are those? Maybe you have choices and you haven't used. I've ran into a lot of people who they've been invested in the 401k for 20 years, but it's in that little bitty risky thing that they did when they first got there, and they should have took a little more. It's the less risky thing, and they should have took a lot more risk. So they've been getting an annual average rate of return of 4% on their money, when if they had been a little more risky 10, 15, 20 years ago, they could have been getting 9 or 10%. So know where they're investing the money at your job. Just a heads up. All right. Number 8. Here's number 8. 8 recommendation. You got 11 of these. Eighth one is this. Invest in aggressively. You're 40 years old. Get aggressive. That means get out of your comfort zone in terms of how much you're investing. Don't be scared of the stock market. Okay? Invest. Take some risk. Right? Take some risk. Okay? And then when you're investing, when I say take some risk, I mean, don't always go with that safe bond fund, right? When you're in ETFs or something like that, go ahead and go with something that has a little bit of potential. Don't always go with the bond fund that's going to get you 1% and 2%. Don't always go with the CD down the street at the bank that's going to get you 0.5%. Go ahead and take some risk if you're 40 years old and you have nothing saved. You've got to step out on a limb a little bit, right? And make sure your portfolio, by the way, is diversified as well, right? And you've got various things in that thing. Don't be 40 years old with nothing invested and then put all your money in one stock or all your money in one crypto. Don't do that. Please, diversify. Let me see where we're at. I haven't been looking at the chat, guys. Got to forgive me. I put in 6%. My company puts in 15. 15? That's crazy. That's a lot. What's the best fund in the TSP? I like the C fund, by the way. C fund is awesome. Let's see here. I agree. These target funds are awful. I don't use target funds. I don't like them either. Let's see. If you have a pension and a 403b, when minimum should invest, and got to rephrase that. Not sure what that question was. Let's see. Yes, boom, boom, boom. I'm just looking through a few of them before I finish up the last 3 or 4 of them. Okay, let's see here. Let me go back. Guys, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button for me, all right? And check out my channel partner, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile. I'm a big fan of Mint Mobile. Great premium wireless service. Everything is online, so the plans are much less expensive for Mint Mobile. Please check them out. This is a link in the description box. Also, jump on our Patreon. There's a link in the description box below as well. Also, my schedule. Jump on there too. I have one-on-ones with folks all the time. All right. You're 40 years old. You have nothing saved. Number 9, you got to reduce your expenses. Earlier I said do a budget. When you do that budget, you got to break down them expenses. You got to get less and less expenses so you have more and more money to invest. Okay? I know you might be 40 years old. You might say to yourself, man, I have this, I got this new car. I got some student loans still hanging around, but I got this new car. I got this new this. Because when you get to be 40 years old, that's when sort of like a lot of people, they start getting comfortable, right? And they start getting to the point in their life where they don't want to make necessarily too big of changes. But I'm saying if you're 40 years old and you have nothing saved, you got to make some big changes. And the first place that's the easiest place to change for most people is in what they spend, right? So think about making some changes to your expenses. Let's see here, 32, and I'm more risky in growth. Okay, risky is good. Yes, stay risky at 32. Let's see, Granada, Spain, I think that is. Germany's in the house. Little Titan, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, if somebody asked about, got to do some one-on-ones all the time, guys, and have conversation with folks. Get online, we share screens and so forth. Just one versus one. Let's see, buy what you need and not what you want. Somebody said stack silver. Somebody said 5 years ago I had 0 in my account. Okay, hopefully you come a long way. UK is in the house. Have you heard of, let's see here. I haven't heard of treasury managed funds provided for state workers. Not sure about that. You might Google that and get all the information you know. Unfortunately, I haven't heard of it. But you got to reduce your expenses, guys. Sometimes you got to get desperate when you're 40 years old and you don't have nothing. Let's keep it real. You're 50 and you don't have nothing. Sometimes you got to sell the home. Sometimes you got to move in with relatives. Sometimes you got to go to a more affordable area. You might live in downtown or near downtown Seattle, San Diego, Boston. Sometimes you got to go to a place where the cost of living is much less expensive, right? And then you have to get into these things like cutting down some of your expenses on things you don't necessarily need, right? You got to sort of buckle down is what I'm saying when you're over 40 and you don't have nothing. You can keep living the way you living, right? I mean, go for it. But if you keep doing what you're going to do, what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting, which is you ended up at nothing, or you ended up with very little, or you ended up way different than what you wanted after the age 40. Do different. That means you got to change some of the bigger expenses that you might have for a while until you get yourself rolling, right? All right, number 10. 10th thing is this. You're over 40. You have nothing. I'm going to tell you that you need to do what you have to do for your steady income. Don't be too prideful to do a job that you may not like or you may not want to do for a while. But ultimately, when you're over 40, you're going to want to find what you really, really enjoy doing. And you're going to want to spend some time doing what you really, really enjoy doing. Let me say it differently, okay? Do what you got to do to make ends meet and to pay the bills and to make some money, because you got to make money. You got to eat. But then over the age of 40, I'm recommending that you find what you enjoy doing, what you really like doing. The thing that you would do for free. Whatever that is, it could be your gift, it could be your assignment on the earth, it could be your purpose, it could be your talent, it could be whatever. Find what you do, what you gotta do. Find what you love to do. Do what you gotta do. Find your purpose. Do what you gotta do, but also identify what your assignment is. The reason I'm saying that is because when you get tired of doing what you have to do, you may want to use what your assignment is and your purpose and your talent and your gift. You may want to use that to continue to make money down the road. So you have no money for retirement, but you set a goal to retire when you're 55. Okay, that's for this job over here. You want to stop doing the job. But you want to keep doing your work, your life's purpose. Two different things, right? Job makes your money. You do it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You make money doing it. And you may not like it. You may not enjoy it, but you got 20 years experience doing it, right? Then you have your work. Your work is what you are brought to the world to do and deliver to the rest of the world. Deliver to the people of the world. A lot of people over 40 don't know their work. They've been in their job a long time, 9 to 5, doing this, doing that, cooking, whatever, plumbing, whatever, doctor, whatever. But then they don't know really what their purpose is, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Some people's job is their purpose. Some people's job is their life's work. But for a lot of people, you're just a custodian. That's not necessarily your life's work. So I'm telling you, when you get to 40, do what you got to do, but then find what you're supposed to do. Find what your assignment is. Because when you get done working at 55, the job, you're going to want to start to maybe really go in hard on what you want to do, what you love to do, what your purpose is, what you are supposed to deliver to the people of the world is over here. Maybe now when you get to be 55, you're planning for retirement. And so when you do this, and this may not make as much money as this, but you love doing it. But this also could make 10 times the money you made over here if you really dug into this. Your assignment, your purpose, your gift, your talent, why you're here, what you're delivering to the people of the world. So what I'm telling you is to go a little deep with yourself and start thinking a little introspectively, what do I enjoy? Okay, I got my job. My job is, I got my goal and my job and all that, but I'm over 40. What am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be delivering? What is my assignment? Find that. Because when you get done working at 55, this will sustain you and could sustain you to this could start sustaining you when you're 45, right? This could start sustaining you and making triple and 10 times as much money as your job when you're 50. So dig into this, right? When you get to be over 40 years old, you have nothing saved, right? You've made a bunch of mistakes. Don't look back, look forward, do your job, dig into your job, be good at your job, but also begin to cultivate and build up this thing over here, your life's purpose, because that could carry you, right? Now, that was what, number 10? I think that was number 10. Number 11. This is a big one too. Everybody forgets about it, right? Somebody said my TSP is nearing 100K. Congratulations. Let's see here. It's never too late to start. I started when I was 44 years old. I'm now 61 with almost 500K. Man, Diane, that's what I'm talking about. Congratulations to you, Diane. That's what I'm talking about. Started at 44, 61 with $500,000. That's where I want to take people. Man, what a testimony. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, number 11 is huge. Number 11 is this. Whatever you do, you're 40 years old and you have nothing saved, please start taking really, really good care of your temple, your body. Health is wealth. As I said, I think somewhere I said, somebody said, when you may think you have a lot of problems with money, right? But if you have a health problem, you really have one problem, that health problem, right? So you really have to focus on your health and move more, eat better, whatever it could be. Calisthenics, workout, I don't care what you do. But you got to take care of your physical being, right? Your physical body. And I know some people say, well, that goes without saying. You'd be surprised at how many people just work, or TV, and just don't think about how their physical health. And you can't help, like, some ailments are gonna come upon you because of heredity and things like that. But do what you can do, right? Everything I've been talking about is about doing what you can do. You can't affect all the things that happen on the outside, inflation, who's gonna be the president, this happens, that happened, the weather outside. Look at the weather. You guys, in case you're new, see the weather out there? Snowing, right? We cannot help the weather, right? We cannot help that. But the thing we can help is, what do we eat? How do we move? Do we exercise? Do we go to the gym? Do we walk, right? Do we jog, run, power walk, whatever kind of walk you do? Do you work on this? If you're over 40 and you have nothing saved, the studies show, I don't have the names of the studies, but I've read a number of them. Studies show that the more you take care of this physical body, the better you feel, the better your attitude is, the better, more energy you have. I mean, so this is huge, and we sort of neglect our physical body. But I'm saying when you start taking care of your physical, it affects your mental. And you're 40 years old with nothing saved or too little saved, your mental got to be on tap. You can't be negative. You can't be down in the dumps. You got to have a good positive attitude. And one of the best ways to do that is to get that, what's it called, serotonin or something? Is it serotonin? Don't quote me now. But you get these hormones going because you're moving and you're physical and you're lifting, you're doing push-ups, you're running, you're jumping, whatever it could be, right? Don't neglect your physical health. Don't neglect your mental health. Taking care of your body head to toe is one of the most important things you can do for your future wealth. Remember, you want to be there for the future wealth, but also wealth is not always just in money. Wealth is in a lot of different areas of your life. So just understand that taking care of your body is one thing I would recommend, because it's easy to be 40 years old and depressed. If you have no money saved, it's easy to be 40 years old and down in the dumps. Get up and do something and some movement and some exercise that'll help you as well. That's number 11. Man, let's see here. Competition, boom, boom, boom. Hey, Kimmy's in the house. Kimmy Apple. Kimmy used to come into my lives like 2 years ago when we were doing this, right? 2 or 3 years ago, right? So that's my 11 recommendations for somebody who is 40 years old or over and have nothing saved. You got time. You can do it. you can actually get there. Diane is right there in the chat, started at 44 with nothing. Now she has a $500,000 invested at the age of what, 61, I think she said. So it's possible. But as I said in the very serotonin, I said in the very beginning, you got to believe it's possible, right? Health is so important. Listen, I didn't want to make this a live video. I just wanted to jump on here and give you this information, guys. If you got value from this, make sure you check out Mint Mobile, my channel partner in the description box. Make sure you reach out to me. Drop a comment. Let me know where you are, right? I think I put a poll out in the community tab earlier today that said, where are you at in terms of your investing? How much of your gross do you invest? Just put a video about how to get up to 20%. Getting up to 20% of your money invested, your gross income invested, it's not as difficult as most people may think. People look at that 20%. Wow, I don't have 20% of my money to be invested. If you just do the math and figure out your budget and your discretionary income, you can do it. You can get there, right? Let's see here. Hey, God bless you too, Isaac. Appreciate you. Let's see. Physical, mental. Any more questions? I want to make sure. 39 savings. Okay, listen. New Zealand. Listen, New Zealand, you 39. This video is for you, right? Somebody said I'm 32 and still looking for what I enjoy doing. Just relax. Look, you know what? Wait, let me help you out real quick. Unboxing. Here's one thing you could do. Ask the people who know you the best and will tell you the truth. Ask them, how do I make you feel when I come around? What do you think about when you think about me? Right? And I remember doing this exercise back in the 90s. Right? Back in the 90s, I did this exercise with teachers. I was a teacher back in the 90s. So we did this exercise where all 30 or 40 teachers in the building, they wrote down an adjective. Is it an adjective or an adverb? I think it's an adjective that described a person. They mixed them all up. I forget what you call this. And they put it on a laminated piece of paper. I still got the laminated piece of paper. And it gave, and at the, I think it was a teacher conference day or whatever, they handed them out to all the teachers. And there was all positive things on there about what people think. Now it was random because there were no names assigned to it. And they told you all the things that they thought about you when they see you. Okay, nice dresser, good smile, good personality, whatever. In other words, here's what I'm saying. Ask the people closest to you, the people that will tell you the truth. How do you make them feel? Right? What do they think about when they think about you? This will start to give you an idea of where your talent, where your natural gift lies. It's just an exercise, right? Just something to help. Somebody said, if the state takes out $330 a month from my pension, should I count that? Totally up to you. Anything that my job matches, I don't count. But what I take out or what I put towards my job's 401k, 403b, I count. So in other words, if I'm putting in 5% of my money towards my job's 401k and they're matching 2%, or they're matching, let's say they match 5% and I put it up to the match at 5%, I count the whole 5%. Am I saying that right? I don't count the additional 5% that they match. I don't know if that makes sense. But in that case where they give you a $330 pension, I don't count my pension, period. Okay, I don't count my pension in it at all. But it depends on how you decide to do it, right? Let's see, boom, boom, boom. Let's see if I missed anything, guys. I'm just seeing. All right. Hey, listen. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Do me that favor, guys, and hit the thumbs up button. And if you got value, if you got any value from this video, share the video with somebody you know, somebody who may need some type of encouragement today. Maybe somebody who's 40 years old, they don't have is where they know that you know that they don't have what they want to have. Share this video maybe in your Facebook group or in your LinkedIn, wherever you are on social media, X, Twitter. Share this video because other people need to hear this common sense encouragement, sort of common sense down the earth inspiration to get better with money and to even grow money after the age of 40. So do me that favor, and more important than anything, share the video and hit the like button for me, guys. Hey, as I always say, listen, the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Guys, take good care of yourself and take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.